I'm an introvert who enjoys being in the spotlight. Gazed around the crowd. Over 100 people were crowded into an underground tavern, crammed around high tables. It was a fast friending event, and the friending had come to a halt. It was time to go up, and my girlfriend and I were scheduled to give a quick plug. Before proceeding with my story, we noticed that majority of you are not subscribers yet. Please do us a favor and hit subscribe now, because we donate $1 each month to www.savethechildren.org for every new subscribers to help the children. Going back to the story, it was time to go up, and my girlfriend and I were scheduled to give a quick plug. We were introduced by the host. He introduced her and promptly forgot about me. The applauding became more sluggish. You could see the bewilderment from the audience's faces. Every single person in the room was staring at me. I took up the microphone. And on the other person, I grinned. The perplexity dissipated. We had their attention when the crowd burst out laughing. My partner, who is more bashful than I am, made the suggestion. I leaned into the microphone every few sentences and said something amusing. The majority of the audience was on our side. It was over in 2 minutes, yet it gave me a rush that lasted the entire night. Yes, I am an introvert who enjoys being in the spotlight. Why would an introvert want a crowd? Remember that being an introvert does not imply that you dislike being noticed. Rather, being an introvert indicates that you are depleted by too much stimuli, particularly social stimulus. The high I receive from performing isn't transferable to other people's settings. While most introverts fear speaking in front of a group, practically any introvert can relate to the remainder of my experiences, such as the time I was 10 years old, had friends over, and discreetly begged my mom, "Can we ask them to leave?" As I've grown older, I've gained a little more tact, but my core temperament hasn't altered. As an example, I'm the guy that invites a few close friends to my house on New Year's Eve so I don't have to go to a club. I'm the guy who says he's too busy to meet up for drinks and a movie when all he's too busy to do is read. I'm absolutely the person that sets a departure time before arriving at an event so that I can get in, do whatever I need to do, and get out, with at least some of my introvert battery intact. I too prefer to work alone, despise phone conversations, and see no reason to organize a meeting when a handful of well-worded emails would generally suffice. But in my opinion, these introverted needs have nothing to do with performing in front of an audience. I recognize that not all introverts are like this. Many people would rather face a 40-person firing squad than give a single public speech. However, public performance is not the same as socializing in my opinion. The difference between socializing and performing. Introverts are depleted by socializing for numerous reasons. Social contact necessitates quick replies. Introverts tend to consider before responding, which is inconvenient in conversation. Many introverts have difficulty remembering words. Conversation is a multisensory activity. You must read body language, analyze emotional clues, listen to what the other person is saying, and figure out the appropriate responses, all at the same time. To put it another way, it's quite stimulating. And the truth is that it's not just chatting that drains introverts, it's all kinds of external stimuli. Good conversation garners social approval, which is meant to stimulate dopamine rewards in the brain, but our brains aren't that interested for introverts. We get less out of most social engagements than extroverts. Many discussions consist of small talk, which introverts find meaningless. The level of performance varies. Public speaking, acting, comedy, music, or any other type of performance does not have the same drain elements as socializing. As an example, performing does not necessitate quick reactions. While reading and responding to an audience can help, you're basically delivering what you've already rehearsed in detail. Ad hoc word recall is not required for performance. You get to decide what you're going to say. The reward is intrinsic rather than external. I mean, certainly, performers would want to hear applause at the end of their performance and hope that their performance was good for the audience. But the artistic gratification of having finished something creative is a huge part of the reward, the same intrinsic delight that artists and writers feel when they finish a piece in private. It's not always about gaining social acceptance. And of course, small conversation is irrelevant in a performance, unless you're doing a stand-up routine, mocking small talk. As a result, some introverts exist in two worlds. We avoid boring social engagement while yearning for opportunities to showcase our talents. Of course, we have stage fright just like everyone else. Most extroverts do as well. However, for introverts who enjoy performing, the rush of a well-executed performance is exhilarating. The jitters are absolutely worth it. Introverts can be celebrities as well. Introverts who enjoy being in the spotlight are more common than you might imagine, so common, in fact, that many of your favorite celebrities are introverts. When I hosted a book launch for a friend, for example, I got to introduce indie celebrity who was a furious introvert who utterly captivated the audience. You may have also heard of a meek little introvert named Stefani Germanata, better known by her stage name Lady Friggin' Gaga. I normally remain to myself and am focused on my music, she previously commented. In the Hollywood atmosphere, I'm always shy. Or introverted heartthrobs like Audrey Hepburn, Emma Watson, and Johnny Depp, to name a few. In fact, given our capacity to dismiss social invitations and focus solely on our art, I wouldn't be shocked if superstars have a higher percentage of introverts than the overall population. But what entices an introvert to perform in the first place? I don't have all the answers, but I do know that personality is often a combination of nature and nurture. That is certainly consistent with my personal observations. My mother claims that even when I was 3 years old, I enjoyed hamming it up in front of people, possibly an instinctive predilection. However, it was never a significant aspect of my life until after years of being a social outcast in high school. That experience showed me that the majority of the time, the attention I received from a group was unfavorable. Performance provided a rare exception, a moment in which all of the social attention directed towards me was positive. That feels great for a nerd and a recovering social phobic like me. That is my story for today. Please remember to subscribe, and we expect to see you again.